Well, greetings and welcome. It's a new week getting underway of Take Two with Jerry and Debbie and you on EWTN Radio. Along with Debbie Georgiani, I am Jerry Usher. And, of course, we do this show today and every day still against the backdrop of the invasion of Ukraine, and our prayers certainly continuing for that situation there. Let us be praying. And, Debbie, you and I were talking before the show about the importance of fasting as well, especially as we head into the Lenten season. So we have a show, we have a topic, but please understand we have not forgotten about what's going on over there, and our prayers are definitely with everyone.
Yes, absolutely. We have been praying nonstop for the Ukrainian people, and I heard that 500,000 have now have left the country and have gone to Poland and other areas. I mean, I just can't. And you see the pictures of the little children. And you know what's interesting, Jerry? Today's topic is about pets and how smart is your pet. And the interesting thing I found when they showed the news footage of the people that were all gathered together in the subways and in the train stations and stuff, they brought their pets with them. And I noticed that this is really strange. I wonder if anybody else noticed it. All the pets seemed subdued. They seemed very quiet, very, it's almost like they knew. They knew something was happening, and you could just tell that they were just, they almost looked very, almost like they had like a drug or something, you know, when you put a tranquilizer or something. But I know that's not so. But isn't it interesting? Did they instinctively know that something was going on, so they knew to stay quiet? And we're talking about pets today, Jerry.
We are. We want to hear from you. Most of us have a pet of some form or another, a dog, a cat, a goldfish. Some people have kind of exotic pets, birds, reptiles, things like that. But we want to hear from you and tell us a little bit about how your pet exhibits intelligence or how smart your pet is. And Debbie knows I could spend the whole hour talking about my good boy Duke, but I won't do that. I might share a couple of examples. But we want to hear from you. What kind of behaviors or traits or mannerisms does your pet exhibit that tells you he or she is an intelligent creature? 833-288-EWTN, 833-288-3986.
Brag about your pet today. That's what we want to hear. We want to hear how brilliant they are. I'm in the market for another member of our family, a pet, a four-legged friend, because everybody knows that I lost Gracie at the end of July last year, and Grace was with us for 14 years, a purebred Maltese. She was super smart. She would never do we could never trick her twice, never. We would do something to try and, get her to come in or something like that inside, if it was raining or something. And we could never fool her twice. That's how brilliant she was. And the other thing that we always noticed is every time we prayed the rosary out loud, or Mother Angelica was on TV praying the rosary, she would get down really low and just lay there and just kind of, almost look like she was in a slump. Yeah, it was very interesting. So that's my little bragging about our little Maltese that went off into doggy heaven. But, Jerry, you say you don't want to brag about Duke, but I will tell you Duke is very smart. He's another one that you cannot fool twice.
No, you can't even fool him once in many instances. But, yeah, I'll share a couple things in a moment. But we have phones are ringing. Calls are coming in. Matt Gabensky, I believe, is our call screener today. Let me check here. Yep, we got Ace McKay, our producer. Jeff Burson is on social media. And we want to hear from you about how your pet lets you know how intelligent or smart he or she is. 833-288-3986. And this is maybe not that big of a deal, but Duke has a clock in his head, I swear, because he knows when it's time to go for a walk. And I usually walk him about 2 or 3 times a day. And when those times of the day come around, all I have to do is maybe get up out of my recliner or just make a move in some direction or another, and his ears are up and his eyes, and he gets up puts his front paws up on the back of the recliner, and he's looking at me like, yeah, right, it's time, isn't it? Right. And I really have no choice in the matter. There are times, and this is another thing, there are times, Debbie, when I have to tell him, we can't go for a walk right now because I'm busy, but we'll go a little bit later. And then he just gets that sullen look on his face. I'm serious. his whole
You
demeanor
negotiate with him?
changes.
Yeah.
His whole demeanor changes. So
He is part human. I believe that little, how many pounds is he? Like about 6 pounds, 7 pounds?
about a 10
He's
pounder.
10? Mm-hmm. Boy, you're feeding him a lot. Because when last time I saw him, he was like only 5 or 6. He was very little. Very, very
Yeah,
little.
he's haven't weighed him for a while, but last time at a vet appointment we weighed him. That was a couple years ago, and he was about 10 to 11 pounds. So he's filled out. He's filling out.
He put on that COVID 5.
Yeah, right, right.
Well, we want to hear about you. 2 open phone lines to tell us how smart your pet is. I will tell you, my pastor that I worked for 5 years, Father Steve, he had a beautiful dog named Hope. And Hope was all the coat of Hope. She was all black, and she had a little white square on her neck. She looked. I'm not joking, and she looked just yes. and Father would say, "Hope, it's time to pray," and he would put up his arm, and Hope would jump up on his arm, and she'd put her head down underneath his arm and bend down to pray.
Amazing,
brilliant dog.
Amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he taught her so well. It was sad. We really just, it's funny how much you love your dogs, and then when they're gone, you think so much about all the beautiful things they did, right? And how they brightened your life, and really brought joy to your day. Well, let's talk about it. One open phone line here on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. We're talking about pets today on Take Two. Please call us 833-288-3986.
Yeah, well, I think I've shared this with you before, Debbie, maybe on a phone call or something. But if you want to see me tear up and get emotional, all I have to do is think about the day. It's going to come at some point. You did this with Gracie, when Duke is going to have to be put down, or he'll be gone. And I just envision myself holding him, and I guess they do it by injection or whatever, when they put them down. But I just hopefully that's many years from now. But even still. When I think about that, it's really tough, And we did shows on that. We did like a 3-part series on putting your pets down. So
we did. This is an interesting conversation. You'll see how it weaves into our spiritual lives. We always do here on Take Two. So we need to hear from you. Talk about your pets today. Tell us how smart they are. We'd love to hear from you. The Take Two family is growing each and every day, but you got to call us 833-288-3986.
Church Pop takes a fresh and fun look at the news shaping our world, featuring engaging, inspiring, and informative Catholic social media content. Find it on Snapchat, Instagram, and on the web at churchpop.com. And you can get Church Pop emailed directly to your inbox. Visit EWTN.com and click subscribe. EWTN, the Global Catholic Network.
Have you joined the Inspired by Faith Book and Fellowship Club? If not, do it today. It's fast, easy, and free. Just log on to standtalltoday.com and click on the Book Club tab at the top of the page. Your request will go right to our facilitator, Gigi, and soon you'll be reading and chatting about great books and enjoying fellowship with like-minded people any time of the day or night. Go to standtalltoday.com and sign up for the Inspired by Faith Book and Fellowship Club today.
This is Kent Hampton, General Manager of the Sword, St. George, Kansas. I always strive to remember that every one of us is a wounded soul in need of God's love. There is no better place on the airways for wounded souls to encounter God's mercy and love than Catholic radio. Catholic radio is important.
The world needs EWTN Catholic Radio, now more than ever.
Well, not surprisingly, it is clear that you have a lot you want to share about your pets today, how intelligent, how smart they are. Here on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. Our phone number again is 833-288-3986. And EWTN offers the Holy Sacrifice of the Mass from Our Lady of the Angels Chapel live every morning at 8 Eastern Time, right after the Sunrise Morning Show. To be sure you don't miss out, we can send a link to your email inbox every day. So visit EWTN.com and click on subscribe. So many people, Debbie, not able to make it to daily Mass perhaps, but we have the beautiful blessing of having it on EWTN Radio.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, full phone lines here on Take Two. No surprise. You guys really want to talk about your pets. They're important. They add so much to our lives. And we're going to go to Tom first in Detroit, Michigan, listening on Ave Maria Radio. Hi, Tom. Thanks so much for being first up, and welcome.
Well, you're welcome. I'm happy to talk about my cat, Smokey, and my friend's dog, Xander. Honestly, I don't really like cats, to tell you the truth, but 2 years ago, this cat walked up to our house on the west side of the state, and neither my wife nor I really like cats, but I made a house for him, so for a whole year, he slept in his little house in the back porch out of the snow, but all winter long, all summer long, we fed him, and he was friendly enough. Well, about a year ago, Easter Monday last year, my wife decided to leave. Of course, I mean, I'm still going to cry about it, but the first night he left, I was like, what do I do? I was like scared, never been so scared and lonely in my life. But there he was. I opened the front door, and he was there. He came right in, which he had never done before. And when I went to bed, he just sat on the bed right next to me the whole night. And I thought, this is a gift of God. I mean, he kept me company. It was great. And then about a month or two later, I was visiting some friends in Chicago who were friends of my wife, but they have a dog called Xander. And I was crying again, and they were just very supportive and comforting me. And this dog, Xander, just comes up right next to me, sits right at my feet, just sat here the whole evening. So obviously they got some sense. They know what's going on. And, I mean, it was a great comfort both times. It's like, you know what? Unless God was here himself, he couldn't have done any more to comfort me and strengthen me. Just the third dog, I had a dog for 17 years named Buddy. And he was going slow, but I just couldn't put him down. So the last month of his life, I put a diaper on him. He stayed on the back porch. I fed him with an eyedropper. Then one day he closed his eyes and he didn't wake up. And I was happy. He was good to me for 17 years. And I thought, there's no way I can put this guy down. So I took care of him, and he died a dignified death. And I tried to give to him, what little bit I could after 17 years of great friendship and service. So that's my story.
Wow, Tom, thank you so much for calling in and sharing. You probably heard the opening segment of the show in which Debbie mentioned the people of Ukraine who were, boarding the trains and trying to get out of the country, and many of them had their pets. And Debbie said you just see in the behavior of the pets, they knew instinctually something was going wrong. And, I think about, the Lassies of the world and the Flippers of the world. Animals can be trained to behave, it seems like, just about any particular way. But I would say much more than that, and more important than that, they act instinctually. And you've experienced that in your life. We're so sorry about your wife going away from you. But like you said, short of God himself coming to comfort you, he really did do you a beautiful, great service with these pets, being there for you and with you. So I think it's just beautiful.
Well, you just have to imagine that our wonderful God, Tom, knew that we needed that beautiful support of his creatures, right? His creations, and it was interesting to me how you said, you were feeling so down, so alone, you got so emotional, and here was one of God's creatures, coming to comfort you. Do I believe that was a gift of God? Absolutely, absolutely. Because God doesn't want us to feel, that down and that brokenhearted. And, he wants us to feel comforted in small ways and in big ways, depending on what we need at the moment. And I just want to say, Tom, I pray for you that you continue to have those added blessings as you go on this journey.
Yeah. Anything else, Tom?
No, that'll be all. God is good, and things are getting better, and thank God for his little creatures. St. Francis knew what he was doing. You talk to animals, and they'll listen.
Yeah,
exactly,
right.
Exactly. Well, who was it? And then St. Anthony too, preaching. Was it preaching to fish? Yeah, to the fish.
Yeah,
exactly.
The people wouldn't listen to him, so we went down to the seashore and preached to the fish. That was awesome.
Yeah,
Tom,
beautiful.
thanks so much. Great,
Tom.
A great contribution to the conversation today. 833-288-3986. How smart intelligent and comforting and all of that is your pet. Linda is in Massachusetts listening on the Station of the Cross. Hi, Linda.
Hi.
Welcome.
So, can you hear me?
We can hear you just fine. Go right ahead.
Okay, I'm going to get really teary, so I'm sorry, but I believe that all the pets that we have know exactly what's going on in the world, and they're really smart. I have a cat who's 13, and every time I have to go to my mother's house and I'm bringing some clothes over, she's looking at me like, "Where are you going? You leaving me again?"
Mm-hmm.
I think all animals are really precious, and they're just like us. They have feelings, and I'm going to cry. I'm so sorry.
Oh no! It shows your heart, and I think it's beautiful. And you appreciate God's blessings for all of us. And you know, Linda, I just want to take that one step further. What you just said, you got so emotional. Can you imagine what it's going to be like in paradise? Can you imagine what it's going to be like if God willing, we all get to heaven? Okay, all of God's creations, all of them. The lion will lay down with the lamb. It'll just be so beautiful. Everything will be in harmony. Everything will be a blessing. Everything will be just a wonderful, beautiful, mystical, amazing gift of God. And I think about that all the time, Linda. So I think this is just a little drop here of what, if we stay on that road of holiness, we can expect to see in paradise. I don't know if you've ever thought about that. I've been meditating on the afterlife a lot lately for various reasons, and it's been bringing me great comfort and joy. What do you think, Linda?
Yeah, I really haven't thought about it the way you just explained. I just know that my cat is my baby, and she keeps me company. And also, one other thing I wanted to say was I live in a complex, and two of our neighbors had to put their pets down, and I went around with a card for each of them, and those neighbors, and I had everybody in the building. There's 64 units in that building, and I had everybody sign the card, and I gave them to them, and then one of the other neighbors brought them a plant, and we just know how, we miss them too, even though they're someone else's dog or cat or whatever. We in there miss them too, because we've got to know them for so long.
Right. Well, yeah, you mentioned your cat of 13 years. Did you mention his name, Linda? I don't remember if you did.
Oh, she's called Kush.
Kush. Okay. Yeah, I mean, 13 years. We bond in a very short time with our animals, but then over that long of a period of time, they just become so much part of our lives. And mm-hmm. the fact that you got a little bit emotional there, it just shows how much you love that cat of yours. And we were just very blessed and inspired by what you shared today.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Thank you, Linda. You have a beautiful heart. Keep that heart shining, okay? That's a good thing.
Thank you.
All right. God bless.
Do you know we're getting a lot of Facebook comments and YouTube, and Jeff is working fast to put them up on the show document for us so that we can read them. Everybody's sending in comments about their pets. Jerry, we probably should let folks know right now. Tomorrow is our first of the month, and we do our Whom or What Are You Praying For? And it's also the day before Ash Wednesday. So we really need to stay focused on that. So we're just, if it's okay with you, Jerry, we should revisit this a couple times throughout the year, because I think right now people are depending a lot on their pets to bring them some comfort during these really crazy times that we're living.
Yeah, I agree completely. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we can't move the prayer show tomorrow, so it'll be a one-part series here on this one, but like Debbie said, we can revisit it again down the road. In the meantime, let's go to Lorraine in Ontario, Canada, listening on Sirius XM 130. Hello, Lorraine.
Hello. I'm glad to get through. I'm all choked up listening to all this.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man, a million pet stories. I can just share this one with my dog I have right now, Emma. She's a 10-year-old black lab, and she's a rescue dog. I rescued her 7 years ago. And I just noticed just recently a strange thing that she's doing. Every morning when I do my prayers, different times, I do a surrender prayer. To God, I offer myself to be to build with me, do with me as you will, etc. But when I get on my knees with this prayer, suddenly, wherever she is, she comes and lays down with me. Now, I thought coincidence, but I get on my knees for the rosary and other prayers, no response. And it doesn't matter where I am in the house in the morning when I do that. She gets up. When I start saying this prayer, whether I'm saying it out loud or just to myself, there she is. And she comes and lays down beside me while I do the prayer. And it's the strangest thing. I always say she's the most prayerful dog because she hears the rosary and that and different prayers I do. But isn't that the strangest thing? I don't know if it's intelligence, but man, it sure is comforting. It's like God's right there with us. There's one, all creatures great and small, right? But anyway, that's my story. And thanks to Tom and Linda for your shares.
Yeah, Lorraine, I just wanted to say real quickly, that's what I shared about Gracie too, the same thing. And I wonder if it has something to do with, they've done studies that when you pray the rosary, the heart rate goes down, everything kind of calms down. And I wonder if the pets recognize that. And so they get into a calmer state, because our dog Grace would do the same thing. I mean, she would literally be running around like crazy, like just a mad dog. And as soon as we start to pray, she'd go down. And I'm like, how do you do that? You know, she must have just known. So I agree with you, but I think they are so in tune, and that's the beauty of, I think, of our pets. What do you think, Lorraine and Jerry? I think that our pets are so in tune with our emotions, our feelings. They're very sensitive, but we should be as well. I think sometimes we go through autopilot. We have our smartphones in front of us. We're constantly using technology to take care of us in every which way. We should be really tuned into each other, soul to soul. I've always said that. I think we're missing something, and I think if we would do that more, if we can learn from our pets and really start to act, do that as well and be in tune with each other, we would have a much better world. Lorraine, what do you think,
You're
Jerry?
preaching to the choir, sister. I tell you, soul to soul. It's all about soul, isn't it?
Yeah.
The world, the powers that be are going for the world, but we go for the soul. Please save souls. Thank you so very much. I love your show when I get to hear it. Great
Thank
topic.
you, Lorraine. God bless you. Thanks for the call. It makes sense, Debbie, when you think that we're all created by the same God. Animals, humans, and obviously we're not equal in terms of dignity and these being, image and likeness of God and all of that, which humans are. But I remember, haven't there been some instances in the past, cases of like church burning down and the tabernacle not harmed at all, and animals were there, and the animals would actually get down, fall down on the ground in the presence of Jesus. I think we undersell, the instinctual nature of animals sometimes.
Right. But we can learn from that. Look at what we're doing. We're disconnecting from one another, and that's not a good thing. That is not good, and it's not how we were created. So we should really start to make those soul to soul connections. Jerry, where are we going next? I just want to let our listeners know, because we had a lot of listeners a couple weeks ago that said, tell us what goes on behind the scenes, because we don't know. Do you have calls? Do we have YouTube comments coming in, Facebook comments coming in, emails coming in, and we have full phone lines? Okay, so now you know what's going on. It's very active.
It is, and we love it. We love it that way because it is your show, and we love to present you with the opportunity to come on every day of the week, Monday through Friday at noon Eastern time, and really, do your part to make this show what it is. So we will get back to more of your calls in a moment. Lee and Cindy and Marilee and Ann and Fran, and Matt is screening another call right there. But we do have some social media, like you said, Debbie. So we can go to, on YouTube, Sandra is watching the video stream. Hello, Sandra, and everybody there. She says, I've had many wonderful pets and found them all to have their own uniqueness. I had one cat named Maggie who was with me during my time of receiving cancer treatment. She always knew when I needed to be comforted and would sit with me after I came home from treatment or when I was resting. Isn't that beautiful?
Oh, wow. And the pet's name was Maggie?
Maggie, yeah.
I love that. Anna Marie says German Shepherds are very smart. Yes, they are. I grew up next to a German Shepherd. They are very smart. So Anna Marie says, I witness this every day. I taught mine to open drawers of the fridge, to turn off the lights, take my socks off. That is hilarious. She also knows how to search for humans. German Shepherds have the brain power of as equivalent to a 3-year-old. Is that accurate? Wow, that's amazing. They're very smart, German Shepherds. I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think?
I think they are, absolutely. And I don't know, it's kind of faint, but people might be able to hear
I
my
hear
dog
Duke.
Duke in the
I hear
background.
Duke.
Yeah,
Well, that's because we're talking about him.
well, the city is just not courteous enough to not come by and pick up the trash when I'm on the air. I wish they'd give me the not do that. But anyway, nothing. I'm being facetious.
Does Duke realize that you need those fine people to come pick up the trash? He shouldn't be barking at them. He should be waving them on, saying, "Come on, pick up the trash." That's hilarious.
he's a smart guy. Well, we're talking about how smart our pets are today on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. 833-288-3986.
Have you ever heard someone say, "We need change"? G.K. Chesterton says, modern men are not familiar with the rational arguments for tradition, but they are familiar, almost wearily familiar, with all the rational arguments for change. We should not be too quick to favor the new over the old. We should never tear down a wall unless we know why it was put up. If we don't understand the purpose of a tradition, we should first learn that purpose and then decide if the tradition needs to be changed or if we are the ones who need to change. Maybe the tradition is right and we are wrong.
Spend more time with the Apostle of Common Sense. Visit chesterton.org for more information and go to EWTNRC.com to discover more books and programs written and inspired by G.K. Chesterton.
You can be a part of Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. Text EWTN to 55000. Wait for a response, then text us with your first name and question. It's that easy. Message and data rates may apply.
He is honored by the Church as a saint and the first diocesan priest to be declared a doctor of the Church.
Matthew Bunson and the Doctors of the Church.
St. John of Avila was known to his contemporaries as a spiritual master, and he served as a guide to some of the greatest saints of the 1500s. He also called for true reform in the Church and was a role model for the priesthood even today. He died in 1569.
For more about the Doctors of the Church, visit doctorsofthechurch.com.
Hi, this is Janet Williams. We embrace the essence of feminine spirituality on Women of Grace tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern here on EWTN Radio. Now, back to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
Take Two with Jerry and Debbie and you, talking about intelligent pets today. And we're going to go right back to your phones because they are busy. To Ontario, Lee is a first-time caller to Take Two. Hi, Lee. Welcome.
Oh, hello there. You know what? Just in case I forget, there is a lost dog that's missing where I'm living, and he's gone feral, and he's been missing for 2 months, but we're getting a lot of sightings from him. So I'm just asking for prayers for Bailey, okay?
Oh, absolutely. For sure, Lee.
Okay. So anyways, I have so many outstanding stories to tell you, so just cut me off whenever you've had enough. But anyway, my dog, I've had 2 shepherds and another Australian shepherd that I walked that I absolutely loved. And when each one of these dogs died, I was given a sign, like a picture of a good shepherd. The picture of Jesus with the good shepherd, you know that picture? But anyway, one of the most outstanding things happened to me is that my dog was 11, and I know that they only lived till maybe 12 or 13. She's a German shepherd, but she was in great health. And I had a dream one night of this lion that took my dog, and they were flying around. And I thought, oh, my gosh, where's my dog? I have to go and look for my dog. So I went looking, and I couldn't find my dog, but I went back to the spot where I started to look for her, and the lion had put her down on the ground. But she wasn't walking, she was lying down. And the lion went off into this other land where I've never been before, and I said, I have to look for the lion, too. But I knew I was at peace, and it said to me that the lion's okay, he was good, but obviously, to me, thinking back, I had to attend to my dog. So I didn't pick up that something could be going wrong with my dog at all. So then a few months later, I had another dream. And in the dream, I was sitting in my car, and I was looking at my rear view mirror, and there was my dog running towards me, to my car. And there was a man running after my dog. And my dog was telling me that nothing mattered in this world except me, that she loved me so much. So my dog passed away. And also last 2019, when I woke up and I had that last dream, I knew that there was something wrong with my dog. And about a month later or something like that, she had a cough, and she was gone within a month. She had cancer, but it was from the throat. But the very last thing that happened was that she could not walk. She was losing one power in one leg, but then she would be okay. And we don't know why that was happening, because it was cancer from the throat. So it was so hard to put her down. But the night I brought her back to the vet, she went into the car, and it was the last time she could ever walk. So she was telling me it was time. And then I also remembered the dreams that I had, that I saw her in the rearview mirror. Looking back, she was telling me that she was going to go and how much she loved me. Wow. And if I could tell just one more really quick one, I had another German Shepherd before, and it was hard to put her down. And the week that she died, it was my 40th birthday, and my sister-in-law gave me the most beautiful card of the Good Shepherd. And she passed away, and I put that picture of the Good Shepherd on her grave. So a year, and it was June the 3rd, it was Saturday at 10 o'clock in the morning. A year later, I was a sponsor for my niece for her confirmation. And we had to drive like about 4 hours to get to the church. And my father, there was only one religious store on the way, because there are very few. And I had like minutes just to go in and grab something and get a gift for her that was on the way. And my father was really antsy, and I was really nervous. So I went into the store, and I grabbed this first statue. And then I thought, no, I'll grab this one. And I thought, no, I'll grab the first one, and I left. Now, this is a year later, okay? I got in the car. I looked at what time it was. It was 10 o'clock Sunday, June the 3rd. And it was a statue of the Good Shepherd.
Oh, my.
Yeah.
Wow, you've had a lot of inspirations, Lee. It sounds like with the dreams and then finding the statue and so forth. And as you were talking, it got me thinking. Debbie, you've had this experience recently, like you said, with Gracie. But I wonder, sometimes we hear stories of pets kind of knowing that they're going to be put down. Whether it's they don't want to get in the car, or maybe they do get in the car and they just have that certain demeanor about them. But I don't know. What did you experience that with Gracie?
Oh, yes, absolutely. And I just want to say, Lee, thank you for being a first-time caller. We hope you call us again, truly. We just love that. I just wanted to say that, again, when you look at our pets, cats and dogs and horses and all sorts of animals that we have in our lives, they're authentically being what God created them to be. They're authentically being a dog, authentically being a cat, authentically being a horse. They're authentically living out that experience, right, of what God created for them. And they learn from us. They learn and they imitate and they learn from us. And so it's very interesting when you watch how a dog or a cat, again, is in tune with what's going on in your life, because they're watching. And I think that is just another element of how God absolutely wants us to feel supported and loved and comforted and understood. And I think it's all part of the plan when we really look at it. So it doesn't shock me at all, Lee, of the stories that you shared about your beautiful dogs. I agree. I think they can do some pretty incredible things, and I think it's because they're living out that experience to the fullest, which we should be doing as well. That's how I'm weaving it into our spirituality. We should be living authentic lives as well as Christians, and living it to the fullest. And you'll see really wonderful things happen, just like we see in our pets on a smaller level, Jerry.
Yeah, for sure. Well put, Debbie. Thank you. And Lee, thank you for the call and the inspiration on the program today. As you might imagine, we have a lot of other people we're going to try to get to. We have email, we have social media. We will continue on the phones right now. Marilee is in, I love the name of the town, Girard, Pennsylvania. That's my given name, Marilee. Welcome.
Welcome. Thank you. Okay, I got a horse story for you, okay?
Okay, sure.
My horse is a descendant of the famous Wittes stallion that Colonel Reed and General Patton rescued out of Poland. She's a Polish Arab, so she's extremely intelligent. If I'm riding her and I think about something, about a change of gait or something like that, she does it without me telling her. And the interesting thing about horses is that when a foal is born in the barn, everybody whinnies and nickers. But when you got to put one down, everybody's real quiet and stands at attention.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like they form a honor guard for that animal that you're putting down.
Isn't that beautiful? Yeah, it gets at the comment that I made just a few minutes ago, Marilee. I'm sure you heard it, that pets, they behave the way they do. They don't think rationally in the same way that we do, but their instincts, they act instinctually. And I think I've never experienced what you just described, but in my mind's eye, I can see it right now. All of the other horses and animals, like you said, forming sort of an honor guard. And we see, I think, aren't elephants like really super smart in that way? Like,
yes.
Yeah. They mourn over a lost
well, yeah, and it's amazing. Again, I agree, Jerry. Again, Marilee, I think it's this idea that they're authentically living out what they were created to be, and like you said, they just knew what to do. Again, they're in tune with it. Whereas we sometimes, as human beings, we lose that sensitivity. We lose it. We think about it. Whereas the animal kingdom, they don't. They get it, and that's kind of interesting. What do you think, Marilee? You're living it because you know this with this beautiful horse that you have.
They have brain waves that we can't access at all because we're too into ourselves, and they're not. But the funny story about the bear is I had her stabled last year where there's a 35-year-old gelding who didn't know he was a gelding, and he would look at her and nick her and, "Come here, pretty girl. Come here, pretty girl." Well, one day he's in his stall, kitty-corner to hers, and she's in her stall. And all of a sudden she raises her head and hits the top of her head on a water bucket. She immediately pins her ears and lunges at that gelding, as if to say, "What are you doing to me?" I thought, isn't that just like a woman to blame a man?
Oh, that's hilarious! Wow, but I like what you said though. I think I shouldn't say I like it. It's true what you said because I don't like it. I think we shouldn't be so into ourselves. But you're right. As human beings, we're so into ourselves. We're missing out on the experience of our senses. God created us to use our senses, to touch, to smell, to see, to hear, and we don't use them all because what do? We rely on technology. We're giving over our ability to fully be authentically human and giving it over to a machine. That's to me, that's just insane. So this is interesting, this conversation, Marilee. I appreciate it. You really opened my eyes on a few things.
I don't think you can access God until you access the brain waves that the animals have, because they're on the same brain waves as he is. And until you can get down to their level of simplicity and listening and behaving as he is putting into, you're not going to be able to access God. I'm sure the contemplatives were able to function on those brain waves. Mm-hmm. That's why they were contemplative.
Well, look at St. Francis. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, animals, even trees and plants, everything that's created is designed to reach its, if I can say it this way, its full potential. In other words, what it was created to be. Like I said, humans are created in God's image and likeness. Other beings and creatures and plants and trees are not. But they still can glorify God in being, holy and perfectly what they are called. When I say holy, WHOLLY, completely and, perfectly what God created them to be. God is glorified in all of his creation.
Absolutely. Thank you, Marilee. Thank you so very much for your beautiful call today. We appreciate it. Where are we going next, Jerry? We have so much coming in, and we could do a part 2 and a part 3, but tomorrow is our first of the month. We do our Whom or What Are You Praying For show, and it leads in perfectly to tie into what we're going to be talking about Lent, because Lent starts on Wednesday, so we have to stay on course.
Well, I'll get to an email here from Sheila. You can always email us, Take-Two-Family, at take2@ewtn.com. Sheila says, I love Take-Two. Well, thank you for that. Snoopy is my daughter's dog, but I spend the most time with him. When I kneel down next to my bed and pray, Snoopy puts his top part of his body on my bed and his hind legs on the floor like he is praying with me. Right after Snoopy's 5th birthday, he was diagnosed with blastomycosis. I hope I said that right, a rare fungal disease. He is not really improving, and the medicine he's on is a liver killer. Please add Snoopy and my family to the prayer list. Thank you, Sheila. We will do that.
And I love the name Snoopy. My dad worked for MetLife for like 58 years. So Snoopy, we had all little Snoopy MetLife little stuffed animals everywhere. And I still have some. They're probably, I wonder if they're worth any money because that's all gone now. Didn't MetLife merge with another company or something?
Yeah,
anyway,
I don't know, but yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I love the name Snoopy. Okay, Catholic Connection with Teresa Tomeo. May I just highlight this for our
Sure.
Take-Two family? Okay, Monday through Friday mornings, 9 Eastern time on EWTN Radio. Folks, you got to check out Catholic Connection with Teresa Tomeo. Teresa and her guests share their Catholic perspective on the day's news and newsmakers. And we've got a lot going on in news. Teresa does a great job covering it. Check it out, 9 Eastern time on EWTN Radio.
Okay. More of your calls. Ann driving through Tennessee, listening on Sirius XM 130. Hello, Ann. Welcome.
Hi. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so I just wanted to say a couple things. One, I think all dogs are intelligent because they learn what they need to know in order to do what they need to do and to survive. And then I've had a number of dogs in my lifetime. Some are more vocal than others, but I've always thought, all of the dogs learn a great deal of English. I never learned any dog at all. So it's hard to say that I'm more intelligent than they. The other thing is I had the dog I lost most recently. I've now had a dog that I just adopted from the shelter that's 9, but the dog before that I lost was the only one that I've never been able to, was never trained to stay home. He was half basset and his nose ruled his life, and I never blamed him. He would be gone quite a long time sometimes, 5-6 hours. And I had a GPS on him eventually, but I do think I worked overtime. I worked St. Francis and St. Anthony overtime on keeping that dog safe, and I appreciate them. He came back whole every time. The other thing I think that he taught me the most was the parable of the prodigal son, because all my dogs, especially the Shelties, that were so obedient and always right there and always did what I wanted, and off the leash they would do anything. But the one that I couldn't train to stay home, when he came home, I would have killed the fattest calf for him, and I think I about did every time he came home. I raised him so and loved him. Probably loved him the most.
Yeah. Yeah, it's beautiful kind of analogy that you're making between your pet and the prodigal son. In fact, I remember when I was living in the state of Washington, very early in my radio career, I had a dog, and he kept getting lost. He kept leaving the house and running away. And it seemed like he was always, I had the benefit of being on the radio, and it wasn't a really big town, so I could go on the radio and say, hey, folks, yeah, King is missing again, look for my dog. And they found him one time outside of Godfather's Pizza and outside of another restaurant somewhere else. And I thought, this dog is really smart because he's going to where these delicious foods are. But, I wonder what it is, Debbie, maybe you have some thoughts on this. What is it that a pet is understanding when we speak? Like I say, Duke. Does he know that's his name, or is that just a sound that he knows to, to react and look over, my direction or whatever? I don't know. Do they know that's their name, or is that just because? I mean, a dog would be doing the same thing basically, whether you spoke to him in English or Spanish or German or French. They would still have the same behaviors, I think.
I'm not a dog expert, but I would just tell you, like with your dog King, you said, I think your dog just wanted a shout out on the radio. That's what I think. So he kept running away because he just wanted a shout out. But Anne and Jerry, I'm not an expert on this, but I read some things when we got Gracie about how, maybe I'm wrong about this. We need some veterinarians to call in and let us know that dogs see in black and white. They don't see in color or something like that. I read that one time. All sorts of things, and it's this repetitive. They pick up the tone and the sound and the way you say things. It like registers in their incredible animal brain. And I think it's just, if I'm right a little bit about that, I just want to say that just goes to show how they are acutely aware of their surroundings, and they're listening, and they're viewing, and they're observing. And it's so important. I think, again, we as human beings, we can learn from that, and we should be, instead of we constantly disconnect from each other now. We should reconnect and really pick up those cues. What do you think, Anne?
Well, I think absolutely. We try to observe our animals as much as possible. I've tried to over the years, but when I was between dogs, I took a neighbor's dog who had never been walked and was almost 10. So I put a prong collar on because I'm 78 and the dog was 65 pounds or so. And I took the dog out to a place where I could have the dog off the leash after I'd had her out a few times. And so I unhooked the leash, and she took off a little bit, a few feet, and then sat down and scratched at the collar and ran over to me, sat down in front of me, and looked up at me. There was no question that dog wanted that collar off. I took it off, and she immediately took off running around, always stayed with me as far as kept me in her sight,
Wow.
They tell you what they need to tell you if we can be smart enough to learn it. I would like to ask one question before I hang up. It's always kind of bothered me when it says, when God gave man dominion over the fishes of the sea animals, birds, and I think many people have interpreted that to mean that we can we can treat them as not the way we should treat them, that dominion to me doesn't mean that we're over them to the extent where we can abuse them. So I'd like just some comments on that from you, some feedback.
Well, I think you're right on, Anne. Dominion over creation does not give us the right to treat creation, including pets and animals, any way that we would want. We know that I really believe the church probably, I don't know if there's an official, teaching on this, but to abuse animals, to treat them poorly, to torture them, anything like that is absolutely against, what we should do. I mean, they are created not in the image and likeness of God, but they are given to us to have dominion over them. But that doesn't mean to, like I said, to treat them any way that we want.
Mm-hmm. And I just want to say, Anne and Jerry, and to everyone that's listening, before the fall, the way God had intended for paradise to be for all of us, everything worked in a proper order, and the hierarchy was there in a proper, respectful order. After the fall, things changed, right? But we know what the end result's going to be. That's all going to be restored, right? And so we do have a God that believes in a hierarchy. So which means that we do know everybody's place, and everybody's place properly with the utmost respect and dignity, all glorifying God, all pointing back to God. So when you have the proper order, Anne and Jerry, things work out beautifully. It's because we have this messed up, condition of sin that has made us all, it's made it really, really crazy with people's choices, and they've made really poor choices in how they treat, look at let's go to abortion, the most vulnerable. Look at the poor choices there. So this is what happens when we have sin that has entered the world greatly.
Mm-hmm. Much better than how I stated it, Debbie. Thank you for your eloquence on that. And Anne, thank you for the call. We appreciate hearing from you. We're going to go from Anne to Fran in Lancaster, New York, listening on the Station of the Cross. Hi, Fran.
Hi.
Welcome.
Hi, Fran.
Thank you. Hi, I'm just calling to say that I've always had rescue dogs in my life, and they've always been really good dogs. The one I have now is sitting right next to me on the chair. Big, and she's a bigger dog too. She's a mixed breed. The only thing I was going to mention to you, Debbie, is that when you start to think about getting a new pet, I hope you will consider a rescue dog. There are so many of them in shelters waiting for homes instead of going through a breeder.
Right.
And that's really all I have to comment on. I just think there are so many of them that just desperately need homes.
Absolutely. Fran, you don't have to convince me. My first dog, Taffy, 18 years, it was a rescue dog, and I completely agree. So I loved her so very much, and nobody wanted her. She was the runt of the litter, and I took her because I was the runt of the litter growing up in my family, and she blessed our lives for 18 years. So I agree. But Fran, real quickly, so you said you're the beautiful dog next to you. What is their name?
Her name is Holly. She had that name at the shelter, and we picked her out, and she's been here. She came here around Christmas time, but that was 7 years ago, so she's been here 7 years, and she'll be with me until the. So
Beautiful.
Yeah, I'm very happy. Very happy with her.
Oh yeah, yes, I agree with you. Dogs and cats, they're waiting to be rescued, have a loving home.
Absolutely.
And they bring, oh boy, when they come into the home, they make it so bright and joyful because you can tell they appreciate being in a loving home. Fran, I agree with you.
Right.
What do you think, Jerry?
I mean, there's some people are just looking for a specific breed, and they don't understand that there are other dogs out there that need homes that are just as good. They're just as good as the other dogs.
Yep, I agree. What do you think, Jerry? Well, isn't Duke is a rescue, isn't he?
Well, yeah, he actually came to the house. I don't know if I have time to tell the whole story right now, but Fran, thank you for the call. Appreciate that. My housemate and I, we had decided to get a dog it was Thursday, August 10th, 2017. We were going to get a dog, we were going to go to one of the shelters. They were going to have a Clear the Shelters event a week from that Saturday. Well, Thursday was the day we decided on that. And Friday, that morning, I got off take two with Jerry and Debbie, and I heard this whimpering outside my studio office. And I thought, well, maybe it's a pet across the street or something. But I looked out inside the locked little courtyard there, about a 6-foot-high wall, wrought iron fence. It was all locked. Duke could not have gotten in there by himself, and there he was. So, yeah, he's, what do they say, who rescued who? You know?
Who rescued you. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Absolutely. That is so beautiful. I don't know if we're going to I don't think we're going to get to Sandy in Tucson, Arizona, and Chris in Decatur, Georgia, and the others. And you guys are sending in messages. I think we all agree. I think we can say this safely. We all agree that we absolutely love and value our pets, our dogs, our cats, our horses. I know some people even have these little pot-bellied pigs. They're so cute. They look, they're smart. They're actually smart. I actually thought about that. I actually think they're so beautiful, and they're very clean.
Are they? Good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So a potbelly pig is in the running for Debbie's next pet. You can vote here on the program.
That's too funny. What do you think? That was a great show. Let's take up this topic again.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you Take Two family, you did it. Hit another one out of the park. And we know tomorrow we'll be busy. Call in early if you're going to be able to tune into the show. Whom or what are you praying for? Our first of the month prayer intention show is tomorrow.
And that is the day before Ash Wednesday, so we'll be talking about prayer, fasting, Lent, and it's going to be a big show tomorrow. Please join us. We just love the Take Two family. Until tomorrow, have a beautiful and blessed day. St. Joseph, please pray for all of us.
Faith is a precious gift from God.